There are many challenges facing our schools and communities, including increasing rates of violence, access to weapons, and other threats. Though they vary in scope and scale, if ill prepared for these emergencies, the response will be ineffective and may result in the loss of life, property, and instructional time. The safety and security of our schools is important to everyone, whether one is a student, parent, teacher, staff member, local official, or emergency responder. An incident that occurs at any school will have a major impact on the entire community. Rural schools, law enforcement, and other emergency responders are often limited in resources, so it is imperative that all potentially affected parties collaborate on planning, preparing, communicating, responding, and recovering from a school-based incident. AWR 148 Crisis Management for School-Based Incidents, partnering rural law enforcement and the local school systems, is an 8-hour course designed to educate rural law enforcement personnel, as well as school administrators and staff, on elements that would allow for an effective response to school-based emergencies. Throughout this course, rural law enforcement officials receive information and training tools that may be used when planning with their local school systems. As a result of the training, law enforcement, superintendents, principals, school resource officers, and others within the school system will be better prepared to work collaboratively when a crisis occurs. The RDPC provides a number of specialized courses free of charge to qualifying rural jurisdictions to help them meet a vital Homeland Security mission.
This course is tailored to rural schools and to rural responders. And the whole purpose of this course is to get those responders working more with the schools and developing their plan and taking their plan to the next step.
And I think that what we need to do is we need to prepare ourselves as emergency responders and school administrators for that potential of what may occur. But the long-term goal obviously would be to reduce the vulnerability. The very first line of defense is obviously the school administrators in their planning, and cooperatively, fire department works with them. And the law enforcement are the people that are your primary responders in that. It really is something that we can't function on our own. We're not a big city where we have 100 firefighters on at a time or 100 police officers. We all have to work cooperatively to make each other's jobs easier and safer.
We talk about incident command, threat assessment, the response, the school's response to a threat, once that threat is enacted, to a school shooter, to a mass casualty event. We talk about the recovery, how the school will recover from an event and get that school back to normal as soon as possible.
Well, I think that you can never be too prepared for an incident that may happen in a school setting, and I think that we always are developing improvements in our plans each year. We always have plans. We want to work those plans and have our people familiar with them, but I also like to get the people that are experts in the field, because things change all the time, and listen to what they have to say and make sure that our plans match the current trends and things that they are seeing as far as incidents related to schools. I'm from a very rural community, so some urban areas where the response time may be 30 minutes, but where I'm from originally could be 2 hours, so it does present some problems, additional problems, as far as timelines and expertise in certain areas. I think that this course has actually addressed some of those. All your emergency management people, your police, your fire, and how that whole scope of organizations need to work with the schools in order to keep your campus safe and make sure that your plans don't contradict plans that they may have, and that everybody works together in a collaborative effort.
The school, once the emergency happens or the incident occurs, they're really looking to us. We're the ones responding. We're the ones going to be taking over that incident. And I think if we don't have that relationship, when that incident occurs, we're going to have major problems, because we're going to have that power struggle, and nobody's going to know who's supposed to be doing what. I think there's some parts of each different phase of the emergency plan that we're learning little bits and pieces. We're really looking into the recovery plan. We learned a lot about the mental health aspect of it, and unfortunately we had 2 suicides last year at our school, and we had to bring in a lot of counselors and caught us off guard a little bit. And I think we learned a lot from that incident. We actually, about 3 or 4 years ago, had a 911 call from the high school. A student called and said they had a gun. And you know what really occurred out of it was the next day when we met and reviewed it in a round table with superintendent, fire chief, police chiefs and stuff. You know, we didn't follow our own plan. You know, we had gone through it time and time again. Every year, twice a year, we get through this plan with the whole department chief down. Just kind of, you know, all of a sudden that incident, adrenaline, and we lost it, you know. And I think that's one of the key parts of this class is teaching you is have the plan, but you got to train, you got to communicate.
Developing an awareness that these incidents could happen in your school and having a plan in advance that all your staff and students know how, so they know how to react to that incident. Just becoming prepared. That's the goal of the course.
I can't understand why any school district would not be represented here today, because the potential of a threat is always there. And I think so many times we lapse into the thought that it will not happen here. It's always going to happen in some other school. But as we sadly know, it can happen in any location.
No school district in the United States is immune to a crisis incident. We'd rather be proactive rather than reactive, and I think most districts and personnel that work for school districts would echo those sentiments.
For more information on the AWR 148 Crisis Management for School-Based Incidents, partnering rural law enforcement and the local school systems, visit ruraltraining.org or call 1-877-855-RDPC.